What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about ask questions before you fight a war. We're going to be looking at the text of Joshua chapter 22, verses 9 to 20. This text reminds me of we have to be very careful about how we decide to fight a situation, how we need to ask questions because we have an appearance of impropriety or an appearance that someone is doing something wrong or appearance that things are happening that are truly, if you just ask questions, you will get more clarity and more understanding of what's happening, what's transpiring. This text reminds me of a situation where I know a female that was married to a man. This female, being married to a man, realized how women normally do. They are like the CIA agents. They are the counterintelligence operation they launch. And she started to recognize that her husband was actually cheating on her with another woman at his job. So she decided to pull up at this guy's job and caught them in a car together, talking on their break. And she pulls up in the garage, in the parking lot of this guy's work. She jumps out and she begins to fight and beat up the woman because there was an appearance, or that she had information to believe that her husband was having a relationship with another woman. And a lot of times, if we ask ourselves, I believe that she decided to sin out of her emotions and feelings to attack another woman. But I believe that she would have found out more information if she would have asked questions to see and get a better understanding of what the situation is. So a lot of times I believe that she would have got more information if she would have asked questions to get a better understanding of what the situation was. And she failed to do that. She decided to rebel against God and all that she knew to avenge her marriage of what appeared that this woman was having a relationship with her husband. A lot of times, if we just ask those questions, if we just ask those critical questions, we can get a better understanding of what appears to be, rather than actually finding the truth of what it is by just asking questions. And that was taken away when she decided to go against all of what she knew and sinned against another person by assaulting that other person because going off of what it appeared to be. This reminds me of, I don't know if you know this song, but it reminds me of Ashanti and Keisha Cole. Ashanti and Keisha Cole, Woman to Woman. I listened to that song before I did this video, and I think it's fitting. So let's read Joshua chapter 22, verse 9 to 20, and it reads, "So the men of Reuben, Gad, and half tribe of Manasseh left the rest of Israel in Shiloh in the land of Canaan. They started the journey back to their own land of Gilead and the territory that belonged to them according to the Lord's command through Moses. But while they were still in Canaan, and when they came to a place called Galilee, near the Jordan River, the men of Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh stopped to build a large and imposing altar. The rest of Israel heard that the people of Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh had built an altar in Giloth at the edge of the land of Canaan on the west side of the Jordan River. So the whole community of Israel gathered at Shiloh and prepared to go to war against them. First, however, they sent a delegation led by Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest, to talk with the tribe of Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh. In this delegation were 10 leaders of Israel, one from each of the 10 tribes, and each the head of his family within the clan of Israel. When they arrived in the land of Gilead, they said to the tribe of Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh, "The whole community of the Lord demands to know, why are you betraying the God of Israel? How could you turn away from the Lord and build an altar for yourself in rebellion against him? Was our sins and poor not enough? To this day, we are not fully cleansed of it, even after the plague that struck the entire community of the Lord. And yet today you are turning away from following the Lord. If you rebel against the Lord today, He will anger with all of us tomorrow. If you need the altar because the land you pose is defiled, then join us in the Lord's land, where the tabernacle of the Lord is situated, and share our land with us. But do not rebel against the Lord, against us, by rebuilding an altar other than the one true altar of the Lord our God. Didn't divine anger fall on the entire community of Israel when Achan, a member of the clan of Zerah, sinned by stealing the things set apart for the Lord? He was not the only one who died because of his sin. Then the people of Reuben, Gad, and half tribe of Manasseh answered the heads of the clan of Israel, "The Lord, the mighty one, is God. The Lord, the mighty one, is God. He knows the truth, and may Israel know it too. We have not built an altar of treacherous rebellion against the Lord. If we have done so, do not spare our lives this day. If we have built an altar for ourselves to turn away from the Lord, or to offer burnt offerings or grain offerings or peace offerings, may the Lord himself punish us." The truth is, we have built this altar because we fear that in the future, your descendants will say to ours, "What right do you have to worship the Lord, the God of Israel? The Lord has placed the Jordan River as a barrier between our people and you, people of Reuben and Gad. You have no claim to the Lord. So your descendants may prevent our descendants from worshiping the Lord." So we decided to build an altar not for burnt offerings or sacrifice, but as a memorial. It will remind our descendants and your descendants that we too have the right to worship the Lord at his sanctuary with our burnt offerings, sacrifice, and peace offerings. Then your descendants will not be able to say to ours, "You have no claim to the Lord." If they say this, our descendants can reply, "Look at this copy of the Lord's altar that our ancestors made. It is not for burnt offerings or sacrifice. It is a reminder of the relationship both of us have with the Lord. Far be it from us to rebel against the Lord or turn away from him by building our own altar for burnt offerings, grain offerings, or sacrifices. Only the altar of the Lord our God that stands in front of the tabernacle may be used for that purpose." When Phinehas the priest and the leaders of the community, the heads of the clan of Israel, heard this from the tribe of Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh, they were satisfied. Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest, replied to them, "Today we know the Lord is among us, because you have not committed this treachery against the Lord, as we thought. Instead, you have rescued Israel from being destroyed by the hand of the Lord." This is God's holy word. What this text shows is a dangerous crisis created by the Eastern tribe. The lesson here is on guarding against turning away and rebelling against God. The Eastern tribe built a large, impressive, unauthorized altar by the Jordan River, gave the appearance of rebellion, of breaking off from other tribes. The Western tribe heard the rumors of the altar and possible rebellion. They appointed a delegation to investigate the appearance of rebellion. The leaders, Phinehas, son of the high priest, the other delegates, 10 high officials, one from each tribe. The delegation appeared to the apparent rebels. They asked searching questions. How could they trespass, betray, break faith with God? How could they turn away and rebel against him? Had they forgotten the sin of Korah, the plague and judgment of God upon the people who turned away from God? They asked the deciding question, are you now turning away from the Lord? Rebellion will result in judgment upon the entire nation. That's what they were worried about. They demonstrated a costly love, a willingness to pay any price to restore their lost brothers, offered to share their own land and with their brothers. But they were willing to actually wage war and to start a war if they didn't. They appealed for them not to rebel against God by building an altar for false worship. They reminded them of God's judgment upon Achan, who abused the sacred things of God, upon the entire nation. The passionate defense by the apparent rebel, a lesson on the need to remember God and not to forget him. They appealed to God that he knew the truth and that he should not be spared if they were guilty. The Lord himself should hold them accountable and punish them if they had turned away from him, if they had built an altar of false worship. They explained their purpose. They built an altar because they feared the future isolation from the true faith and the worship of God because of the natural barrier caused by the Jordan River, because the future generation might deny them for the claim that they had to know the Lord. They did not build an altar for worship. They built an altar as a memorial and as a witness. They said witness, declaring that they would only approach the Lord through substitute sacrifice at his sanctuary. That's in 27. Declaring to future generations that they must not be isolated, declaring that the replica, the copy of the Lord's altar, is a proof their true worship and loyalty to the Lord. They declared their allegiance and loyalty to the Lord. They would not turn away and rebel against the Lord. No altar would ever be built for false worship. They would worship only at the altar of the Lord's tabernacle, the worship center. The reconciliation and unity renewed a lesson on this need to guard the unity and oneness of the Spirit among God's people, the acceptance of the passionate defense by the delegation. They were pleased with the declaration of loyalty to the Lord. They were pleased that war had been averted and did not take place. They returned back to the delegation to report to them of what transpired. It stirred joy and praise to the Lord. But the great thing about it, that it brought unity and reconciliation back to God and his people. The great thing is that the Eastern tribe named the memorial witness. It was to be witnessed among the tribe that the Lord is God. We must be very careful about looking at just the appearance and not going into the truth. Because if we just look at the appearance and not the truth and ask the vital questions that need answers, we can find ourselves in rebellion to God and rebellion to others. More importantly, the rebellion against God. We must be very careful not to make that mistake. I believe that this has helped you and that you will be blessed by this message. I thank you for watching. God bless you and God bless your family. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you want to be notified of upcoming videos. Thank you and God bless you.